Continuing the theme of keeping things unpredictable this week, I'm joined by a man who says I can ask him absolutely anything as long as I don't mind how he responds. He's got a new CD out called Hell in a Handbasket coming out this fall. He's the original Bat Out of Hell, which follows neatly on from Satanic Witches. He's the rock and roll wild man, Meatloaf. Welcome.
A rock and roll wild man, huh?
Well, we've had a few battles this week, as you may be aware. So if you can just stay in your chair.
I'm going to stay in my chair. I promise. I promise. I will stay in my chair.
Have you ever walked out of an interview?
No.
Could you imagine doing that?
No, I would argue. I mean, I would argue with you, and that's what I would do. I wouldn't get up and leave. I would just flat out have an argument.
Yeah, that's what I think. I found it very baffling.
Yeah, that's what you would do.
Yes, totally. I wouldn't even think of walking out of an interview.
Yeah, well, you just you intimidated her.
Yeah,
and she had no response.
What do you? We obviously started with a more serious matter, which is the debt crisis enveloping America. You're a very successful entrepreneur, businessman. What do you make of what's happening to your country's economy?
I think I answered that question with the title of the album. And it's based on The World's Gone to Hell in a Handbasket. And I mean, that's really true. The economy, and you hear them all the time talk about the greed of Wall Street, the greed of Citywide, the greed of Fannie Mae, the greed of, and that's basically kind of true.
Who do you blame? I mean, is it the bankers? Is it the politicians? Is it
it's all of the above?
And the American public for overspending, getting into too much debt? What do you think?
I think in partly the American public, because people, the old saying, want to keep up with the Joneses. You know, oh, look, dear, they got a new Volvo. How can they have a Volvo and we don't? Or that, you know. I use Volvo. It's a nice Swedish car.
Nothing wrong with Volvos, but isn't that kind of part of the American dream? Is that the class system in America, it seems to me, has always been built around hard work, aspiration, success, achievement?
Well, that's what it is based around. It's hard work, as far as I'm concerned, because that's what I've done my entire life, and that's what I still do. And last year, I was home. And this is, what year is this? 2011.
Yeah, it is.
2010. In 2010, a total for the entire year of 6 weeks.
Really?
And I was working, and I work really hard. So
you've recently had a few health scares. You've been keeling over at concerts. What's been going on? Are you okay?
Yeah, I'm fine.
You look all right.
I'm fine. If I keel over now, just get the paramedics, and believe me, I'll finish the interview. I won't leave. No, I have asthma. And I still think that I'm like 28 or 29 years old, and that I can do what, you know, I think I can do what Justin Bieber can do, which is, you know, you never get tired at how he is. But I still think I'm that age. And
looking at pictures here now, you can see it.
Well, that was in Pittsburgh. And I was having a really bad asthma attack, and my chest was killing me. And I couldn't get any air. And we finished the song, and I went back and I knelt down at the drummers and looked at my drummer, and I said, I thought I was going to pass out. And I got back up and I went, okay, the next song is easier, and Patty, the girl who sings with me, comes forward. And I'm singing with Patty. I'm looking at Patty, and I'm singing. And all of a sudden, gone.
Boom.
And so I guess I was out for like over 2 minutes. And so I wake up and I go, where are we? And somebody goes, Pittsburgh. And I said, but I know that. Where are we in the show? And they went, what are you getting ready to do? Took the words right out of my mouth. I said, okay. And I turned to Justin, who plays piano. I went, okay, took the words. And I just got up and finished the show.
I mean, the part of the problem is...
I didn't walk out on that either.
No, you didn't. I commend you. But part of the problem is, I've seen you perform live. You are like a bat out of hell when you perform live.
You know what? I take the stage as if it's going to be the last thing I ever do. And that's how I perform every night.
Can you keep doing that to your body? I mean, do you think...
I don't know. We'll find out.
Are you being sent a few messages here that time to slow down a bit?
Yeah, it's probably have to slow down a little bit. But I do, I mean, I go through I don't know if you've ever been in a locker room before a football game or before a baseball game. And it's like, I have a friend who manages the Dodgers now named Don Mattingly. And I was at Yankee Stadium hanging out on the field with Don, and we were playing catch and throwing the ball around. And I sang the national anthem, and I came back into the dugout, and they had a different look. And the focus, they were in the zone. And so for 2 or 3 hours before a show, I'm the same. It's like I'm in the zone. And I go out on a stage as if it's the last thing I'll ever do. I will, and that's what I've always said. If I'm going out, I'm going out on a stage.
Well, I don't want you to overdo it, so take a little break.
No, I'm good now. I'm good. I didn't prepare like that back there.
We're going to have a little break, just anyway, a little commercial break. When we come back, I want to talk to you about Bat Out of Hell, which was the album, I would call it the seminal album of my youth. I want to thank you. I want to pay tribute to you.
Thank you.
Back with me, though. That was your single, Paradise by the Dashboard Light, and of course the great album, Bat Out of Hell. That was the great anthem from this album. I remember when that came out, I was about 12 or 13, and for the next 4 years, this record would be played almost constantly in my life. At school, at home, we were all little bats out of hell.
Yeah. Well, the funny thing about Paradise was that it was released as a single in the States, and it was released as a single in the UK, and it was the only single off of Bat Out of Hell, I think, to get in the top 10 at that time, and it was #1 in Australia and all around the world, and they released it in America, and there was a gentleman by the name of Casey Kasem, who had a syndicated top 40 show that they sent around the country, and when Paradise got to number 38. He actually put into the envelope or whatever a handwritten note that said, "Get this trash out of the top 40," because the Phil Rizzuto first base, second base, third base thing, which is like that's like a kindergarten thing now.
Yeah.
And
how many copies of Bat Out of Hell worldwide have now been sold? Do you know?
Yeah, around 43 million.
Unbelievable.
And there's only Thriller and AC/DC Back in Black ahead of us.
So it's the third biggest selling album of all time. Dare I ask how much money it's made for you?
No, it hasn't made hardly any money for me, trust me. But
why?
They declared me in breach of contract in 1982. And in 1982, I got sued for $100 million. And lost. And
so you sold 43 million copies of this album and barely made any money out of it.
I think I got a check last week for $1.29. I've seen I'm really serious. I've seen statements come from the old CBS records where I actually owed them money. And I'm not lying.
It's ridiculous.
They would charge me like 77 cents for selling a record. Because they had what they call cutouts.
How much should you have made? I mean, if it was a normal contract.
Back then, I really don't know. Maybe after you pay the producers and everybody, $12, $13, $14 million, maybe. I got a check once for $285,000, which was not bad. So I bought a house.
In total, have you made less than, say, $1 million out of that?
No, I've made more because we did take him to court at one point. So I've made a little bit more, but not a lot.
Well, apart from your shrinking bank balance because of it, you've also physically shrunk. I mean, those images we saw there. That was a huge meatloaf.
You showed a picture of me in red a second ago, and I said, "Oh my Lord, that picture in red." I weighed about 330 pounds.
Did you really?
When that happened, and the Paradise, I was around 300, 310.
And what do you know?
I've gained 7 pounds, so I'm sorry you asked me that. I know where I should be. I know where I am. I was 257, and I don't like it.
That's still pretty good, though, compared to where you were.
But I don't like that.
What would you like to get down to? It's your fighting weight.
120. No, I don't know. Probably a healthy weight would probably be 220, 225, something like that.
Can I have another little break? When we come back, I want to talk to you a bit more about politics. I want to know what you think of...
Oh, my word.
Yeah, I think you're quite a political guy underneath.
Well, I have my opinions, yes.
Pretty strong ones, I should think.
I probably do.
Do you know who you're going to vote for yet at the next election?
Oh, I have no idea. I couldn't tell you in a million years.
You're not a Democrat, then?
I'm not a Democrat or a Republican.
Interesting. Well, let's find out what you are after the break.
Okay. I'm a leprechaun.
That was, of course, Meatloaf and the cult classic Rocky Horror Picture Show. Just want to clear one thing up. So you were born Marvin Lee Aday. You then became Michael.
I did.
So talk me through this process.
Okay.
How did you end up at Meatloaf?
Okay. Oh, well.
Well, I mean, talk me through this process.
The best story is this one, and I would own the company now if it was today. When I was a kid, I was so big. I mean, I was really big that I literally could not wear blue jeans, and I would have to go down. My mother would take me to Sears, and they didn't make blue jeans that would fit me, so I wore like pleated pants in the first grade. And a commercial came on the air when I was about 5 or 6 years old from Levi's, and the commercial was "Poor Fat Marvin can't wear Levi's."
Really?
Yeah,
and you were still called Marvin at the time?
Well, no, I was called Meat, but people would call me Marvin. And after that, nobody called me Marvin. And I went before a judge in Connecticut in 1984. And I told him this story. And he said, and that's what he said to me, if it was today, you'd own the company. and I said, he goes, so that's why you want to change your name to Michael? And I went, yes, sir. And he said, well, normally the process is about 6 weeks. But in your case, I understand completely. And he turned to his clerk and he said, give me the stamp. And he stamped it and he handed it to me and said, Michael, have a great day.
That's a great story.
And
are you now legally called Meatloaf?
I had Meatloaf on my passport when we first were touring Bat Out of Hell. And I went into Germany and showed my passport, and they kept me in immigration for 6 hours. So I figured at that point it was probably the best thing to do was get Meatloaf off my passport immediately, if not sooner.
So what is on your passport?
Michael Lee Aday.
So that's your problem. You go by that name legally?
Since 1984.
And what do you like to be called when you're your stage character? Do you like to be called Meat. Mr. Loaf?
Meat. Yeah,
Meat.
Yeah, the first person that ever called me Mr. Loaf was Clive Barnes. When I was doing As You Like It for Joe Papp, and he made a quote about Raul Julia and Mary Beth Hurt and myself, and he said, Mr. Julia, Miss Hurt, and Mr. Loaf. And it was a very nice quote that followed it. And you can look, it used to be online, I don't know if it still is, but he called me Mr. Loaf, so that was, and I'd gone to Joe Papp when we were doing As You Like It, and I said to him, Joe, since I'm doing Shakespeare, maybe we shouldn't use Meatloaf. and Joe looks at me, and it took me a few seconds to understand what he was saying. And he looked at me and he said, what? Do you think if Bill wasn't alive today, he wouldn't use Meatloaf? And he walked off. And he walked away, and I'm watching him go, and I'm going, who's Bill? Bill who? And I went, oh, William Shakespeare, Bill. I'm going, okay. And so he was right, because in As You Like It, they have really, and Shakespeare.
Well, you've had Meatloaf or Michael or Marvin has had a pretty extraordinary life. I was doing a little roll call of near-death experiences you've had. Crashed in a car which rolled over. Been struck on the head with a shot during a shot put event.
Oh, the car rolling thing was really good. It was a Corvair.
Yeah, but hang on a sec. You were struck on the head with a shot during a shot put event.
Well, no, it was a practice, but it was at 62 feet. With a 12-pound shot, and I actually have, I won't make you do this, but I do have a dent in my skull from it.
Seriously?
Yeah.
Well,
okay, right here. You can feel it.
Wow, you have?
Yeah.
What an amazing thing.
And it didn't.
Meatloaf is dented.
But I was passed out longer in Pittsburgh from the asthma attack than I was getting hit at 62 feet with a 12-pound shot.
Well, it carried on. You then broke your legs while performing a concert. You were then struck with Wolff-Parkinson-White syndrome, registered to your heart in October.
But that was a compliment, actually.
A compliment?
Yes, Wolff-Parkinson-White, because when they diagnosed Wolff-Parkinson-White, the doctor came in and said, well, you're among an elite group. I said, why is that? He goes, marathon runners get Wolff-Parkinson-White. And I went, great. Okay, let's enter me. So, no, pro athletes get that quite a bit.
You also, in 2006, your plane took an emergency landing in London after the plane's landing gear failed. Are you very unlucky, or are you very lucky because you're still alive?
I'm very lucky.
Yeah, it seems to me you are.
Yeah, I'm very lucky.
Any guy that gets singled out for a shot put in the head and has a dent in the head, and is still here.
If you're in a Corvair,
yeah,
rolling down into the Red River, which is, thank goodness, didn't have any water in it at the time, full of Coors beer coming from Oklahoma in high school. And all you hear is the sound. We had cases of beer in the trunk, and all you hear is the sound of and the other two guys got thrown out, and I'm stuck in the back seat of this Corvair, and I can't get out, because I weigh like 300 pounds, and I'm in the back seat of a Corvair. I'm still here. I've been cut out of cars. I got hit head-on collisions.
Fantastic. You are one of life's miracles. We're going to come back after the break. We're also going to show people the greatest walk-offs in the history of television. It's hilarious. Memorable song, I'll do anything for love, but I won't do that, which is in memory of Christine O'Donnell. Meatloaf, very quickly, we didn't ask about politics. If you could vote for anyone right now, who would it be?
Christine O'Donnell.
Anybody else?
Oh, no, if the person that I probably would vote for is not running at the moment.
Who's that?
Chris Christie, governor in New Jersey.
He's a potentially great candidate.
We got big guys got to stick together.
Absolutely right. Great talking to you.
Nice talk.